Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jack, or in game it's Mr. Krabs with two A's. I feel like most people know me as Jack, though. That's what I go by on Discord. That's where I do most of my communication about the game. But just thought I would make a ramble to share uh, where my account's at, my immediate goals, thoughts on the upcoming Desert Treasure 2 quest and associated bosses, and what I have going forward. So, this is like the basic overview, right? Maxed account. This is an Iron Man account. Uh, I have the all this stuff done. Not done with combat tasks. I have master through the Fortnite point system, but GM is on my list of things to do eventually, just not immediately. And I can go through the collection log pretty quickly. I've got a decent amount of bosses green logged. Um, Collection log's not a very big priority for myself on this account, but I do like some collection log content. I think it can be fun at times. Also, sorry if the mic has a little bit of static to it. My computer was making noise, so I'm using AMD noise suppression, which works well enough, but it's not perfect. The Discord one is better. So recently I just did the Void Waker grind. That was relatively fun, right? I went a little dry. The first half was a lot more fun than the second half, but I got the Venenatis pet out of it, the bear pet out of it, wherever the bear is, somewhere on here. There it is. Uh, yeah, so I did a bunch of 1+1 Ardio for that, and a little bit of Team Callisto, but much preferred the 1+1 Ardio because it was super chill, and then a good mix of both for the spider. And then I spooned the skeleton so hard I don't really have any thoughts on it. And I also have done good amount of skilling on this account. I just finished 20 mil base XP like literally an hour ago, which was a lot of fun. But skilling takes up a lot of hours, and I'm not sure I have the real life time to keep going past 20 mil base. I'm somewhat interested in doing 30 mil gatherers or maybe picking one skill I really like to go to 50 mil, but it's not a top priority for me right now, having finished 20 mil base, which was my biggest skilling goal I had. Because there's some skills I'm just don't have a ton to expand on. Like, I've done a bunch of Sepulcher. I'm 99% of the way to like very good at it, but just feel like there's not too much more there for me. Even though there is some, it's just not enough to keep me super invested, especially not to something like 200 mil. Though I am still liking skilling, just too much time. But other than that, I guess I can go through my bank a little bit. Pretty basic stuff, right? Ring of Endurance from just doing Sepulcher earlier. A little bit of a casket stack here because I do clues as if I valued all collection log slots, which I do, but just not an insane amount. And this is nice because it lets me not do master clues, which are annoying. Because I can't complete all of them. I'm close to having all the items yet, but the items I need are in these caskets because I don't have the trousers, the black dragon mask, or any of the all of the items I'm missing for masters are clue rewards themselves. So, and I'm not sure what I'll do with these stacks, but eventually I'll open them. A decent amount of GP. Never actually had this much, but because I've always just dumped it right into viables. But it's a pretty good stack, I think. And then skilling tab, skilling outfits, whatever. And PVM tab, this is where most of the bank is, right? Got Fang. It's not very notable. Tebow, Shadow, Fulmisori. Was really not expecting to get any of these items this year. When I started this year, my goals were to max start on 20 mil base and get one of a Shadow, Tebow, or Scythe, and I kind of just stomped that goal because I got like Shadow and Tebow both on like half drop rate, which was pretty nice. And then I don't think Void Waker was out at the start of the year, but that became one of my goals like shortly after it came out, and yeah, that was pretty good grind. Also got Swiftblade. It's nothing extremely notable here. I also did Zealots. I really like Shades of Morton actually. I feel like it's a little bit overhated because mains just do it for elite clues all day. But the 7 tick Celaster Spark Shade Burning, I think that's really fun. Maybe it's just because like I like scaling and the people doing clues might not, but I think it's a good method. And then potions. Again, nothing too special here. Pretty good stacks. Like, I feel like people overstate supply issues on an Iron Man. I guess because I skill, it's not really ever going to be a factor, but it's not that bad, right? Especially with 2A, and all like the other good sources of seeds. But this is enough for basically forever, but I'll still make more, of course. Stams are the only thing to worry about, really ever. Then herbs and seeds. I always try to give myself the goal of processing all my seeds, but it feels like it's hopeless a lot of the time because I don't do herb runs like on cooldown enough to get that done, and there's just so many here. But I've been working through my snapdragons and my irrits recently, so those are getting a little bit lower, but we'll see where that goes. And then processing and gatherers for the most part are here. The fishing's down here, but yeah, I like to process all my stuff that's good for GP right away. So I do my leathers right away, and same with that. Addy and Rune. Rune doesn't really go to Alks for the most part because I don't like mining amethyst. I don't AFK a lot, and I think it's just so it's not AFK enough for me. If I do want to AFK, like I'd rather go to a redwood, walk away for like 5 minutes. It's much better. Or day alt where it's always 1 minute click. But I've done a little bit of amethyst for arrows because it's actually pretty good for the T-bow, but I rune arrow wherever I can, honestly. But yeah, nothing insane here. Good gem stacks. Bunch of gold ore or bars, and then clue items, miscellaneous garbage, equipable garbage, and alks. I recently cleared out my alk tab. Going like 4x rate at the spider boss for the Void Waker gave me like something like 10,000 onyx bolts, and I alked all those at Sepulcher and Vorkath, which was pretty nice. That's how I got this big GP stack, which I'm pretty happy with. But I think that is just about everything I wanted to touch on uh, in the bank, right? So I guess I'll just go mine some sandstone, because that's what I was doing before I started recording. So past that, there's Desert Treasure 2, which is coming out, which I'm really excited for, honestly. Um, the thing I'm most excited for is the Virtus robes, because if you didn't notice in the bank, I don't have any Ancestral. I'll pull up the collection log. I've done 510 chambers, so this is about like 400 solos, right? I think I'm below rate on expected purples, but nobody cares because I have a T-bow. Like, it's pretty good. I'm happy with this log. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping to get Virtus robes and then in the next year go to 1,000 chambers is like the soft goal. See where it takes me. And for Tob, 4 out of 7. Right, I have the pet. That's pretty cool. But missing the Scythe, Sang, and Justy Chestguard. The Scythe's still really only one I care about. Full Justy might have like one or two niche uses, and I'd take the Sang into Tob, but Scythe, you'd see so much more use, right? And I did finish TOA. Um, this was pretty lucky. I think just not getting a ton of dupes was good. Like, of course, you're gonna have a lot of Fangs and Lightbearers, but only, between the non-Fang Lightbearer items, I only had 2 dupes in total. So I'm very happy with that. Um, yeah, and I actually ended up losing. I had 5 Lightbearers before I got my 7th item, and then I got the Masori body as my 7th item, and immediately after, I got the back-to-back Lightbearer because I had gotten smited for my Lightbearer at Venenatis because I got attacked when I had low prayer and ate all my food, and then it was gone. But it is what it is. I got it back. Pretty happy about that. And then with Desert Treasure 2, there's the Virtus robes, like I was saying. Those are pretty exciting because they have the 1% magic damage on them, which, I'm not sure it's great for the game, right? I'm not like big on the boomer mindset of don't change things, but I feel like it power creeps Ancestral a little bit, even though that's definitely reduced with the Shadow having its multiplier, but overall, I don't control what gets put in the game. I'll take the upgrade. I'll use it. It'll be fun for chambers. It's a good amount of maxes on the shadow, and there's pieces of content where you're punished for not having ancestral to where like the shadow isn't worth using, especially if you consider the GP that you need to put into it. So having Virtus closes that gap a little bit, and it's not like I'm not going to chase Ancestral, right? You don't chase endgame items for how much time they'll save you. You just do it because they're bis, right? So I'll still be going for that. Um, and there's also the new rings, which are pretty cool. I'm not huge on a ring swapping meta, but at the end of the day, it's just another swap. What I don't like about it is that it devalues the light bearer to an extent, and the light bearer is a lot of fun to use, right? Double specs is just pretty cool all around. So now instead we're going to be using DPS rings, which is it's just damage. Like, yeah, damage is cool, but I feel like there was a lot of fun gameplay that came from light bearer, and it'll still see use, just less, right? Um, but I think I'm most excited to use the new rings at Chambers to where I'm planning on doing the new 12 melee strength ring as well as the magic ring. I don't know if I'll fit the range ring in my setup. I'll have to see how it looks when things pan out, especially with the new bank in Chambers or alt scouting. I prefer alt scouting anyways. What you can do is just, take the range ring if you need it, or if you have room for it rather, and then don't if you don't need to, which is it's nice. Um, yeah, I hope the bosses themselves are good. I think four bosses in one update's very ambitious, and the quest as well has to be good. So hopefully, there's been a lot of good dev time and they've made something good. Because while I think the last boss we got, Muspa, was pretty good, I didn't love it. For some reason, I just don't find it very fun. Like, it's considered to be like Vorkath, Zora tier, which these bosses are supposed to not be. But at the same time, I just prefer Zora and Vorkath a lot more. I don't love Zora. I think it's all right, but I only do it when I need scales. And I really like Vorkath. I'll do that whenever I have a task. But yeah, I don't really like doing Muspa. I would be more motivated to do it if I had an imbued heart, but right now I just can't see myself doing it. So hopefully that's not the same case for the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. And hopefully the pets aren't aids to grind. I do a little bit of pet hunting. I can show which ones I have. I've actually gotten, overall, I'm probably pretty lucky on pets, right? Like, when you start pet hunting, all your pets are going to be spoons if you're like content hopping because you haven't hit drop rate for any. But the majority of these are like pretty big spoons, right? Like I got the Inferno pet on 1KC, um, Jad pet on 6KC. That one doesn't really matter. KQ pet somewhere around 300, and then I just got the KBD pet around, where is it? I got it at like 540 or something, which is it's pretty nice. I actually really like doing KBD, so I was like the tiniest bit sad I didn't get the pet, but I think the Tebow step under method's really fun. I think it's worth a try. And then I spooned the Kraken pet as well, which was notable because Kraken's really fucking boring. Yeah, I don't like that boss. It's barely a boss. And Todd pet was also under drop rate, but oh, and Younglef. I actually got this one from a regular gauntlet, which was pretty funny, but I'm not like wasn't insanely spooned, but I think overall I'm pretty lucky on pets, especially considering the Nibbler. That one's insane. Um, I was very shocked when I got it. But what else was I thinking of? Yeah, overall I just hope the Desert Treasure bosses are fun. 'Cause like I'm gonna do them for the uniques anyways, but I would ideally like to do them past the uniques the first week and then drop some stuff over for alt GP because I would like to get a little bit more. I have like 500, 600 mil on my alt, and that's just uh, there's stuff you can do with more. I want to get up to. Um, yeah, I think that sums up how I feel about Desert Treasure 2. I don't really care about the quest itself. I'm more than anything, I'm worried it's gonna be hard to do without quest helper on day one, but we'll make it. Like, who really cares? Um, yeah, and then past that, my immediate goals are just Desert Treasure 2, do more chambers, work towards 1K, and then also next. I've done like a very tiny bit of next. I've done a handful of trios with my friends, but I want to start doing duos because I finished Masori. Um, because those are the best drops, and I feel like they're the most engaging, right? Because Trio next is pretty boring because there's no pressure, like especially if you have a Blood Fury, but even without a Blood Fury, if you're doing one kill trios, it's like there's just like no pressure of dying, so you have a million billion brews in your inventory. two kill trios could spice that up. I do want to try those. I haven't yet, but overall, I think Nex is pretty fun. Like I want to get good at Nex because there's depth there. Like I feel like it's kind of gotten reverse. It's gotten like pushed back on far enough to where people said that Nex was really easy, and then people were like, no, there's actually depth here. But now the people saying no, there's actually depth here have gotten to the point where they're louder than the people saying Nex is easy. Like, at least from my perspective, as part of the community I engage with, I feel like it's pretty well known that Nex has a good amount of depth to it, which, like I've noticed in my kills, I think it's pretty fun. Like stepping onto her, making her not be able to attack. Definitely, it's different than most other bosses, but I think it's pretty engaging. The step unders with Fang, I'm not massive on, but taking less damage is cool, right? I'll take that. Um, so yeah, I'm planning to grind out to 1k chambers and green log next. I don't know if I'll go for pet and hilt, but I definitely want to get the items right. Um, the ones that don't really help, I'm just on the fence about. I'll see how I'm enjoying it when I get there. Like if I do end up having them left as last, right? But those are the main things I'm working on. Also, Tob, like I don't usually put Tob in my immediate goals because it's more of a just I do it when I get pinged for it, which I had been pulling off pings for a while because I was focused on solo goals. But so I guess in a sense because I will be answering those pings, it's part of my goals, right? So I'll be doing more Tob, going for Scythe. Yeah, like Tob is somewhat of a unique case to where I don't feel like I do it for the uniques. I just kind of do it because it's fun. All right, that's I feel like that's a good place for endgame content to be, but Scythe is a goal, of course. But I'm not going to stop doing it once I get it because uh, it's not why I do it, right? But definitely something I'm looking to do. And then past that, there's other auxiliary goals that I want to do, but it's hard to find the time to do everything in this game because there's just hours on hours of content, right? Which is other ones I have are heart, just the imbued heart grind. I don't have one, and like miscellaneous skilling stuff, which is soft rolled out for the while, and then Nightmare. With with the heart, I would really like, well, of course, Virtus, which is going to be a really big buff to that grind. But as well, I'd like a Nightmare staff for Kodai. I do have a Staff of the Dead, which I could use, but at the same time, it doesn't give you defense XP, which sounds stupid, but I do like care about the total XP of my account, and it's just kind of shit macro to use Staff of the Dead, honestly. So I'd like to get a Nightmare Staff for Kodai. So I will see where that takes me, but it's definitely not an immediate goal. But I was enjoying Slayer when I was doing it to 20 mil, so I would like to keep doing more. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Slayer, but kind of like it. The one thing I'm on the fence about there is whether I'll keep doing like Skiller Slayer or whether I'll just hunt for heart. Like I know for a fact I'm not going to Turiel to heart because I don't really enjoy Turiel and I have too many goals to where Turiel's not good. But the main question is whether I'll keep doing uh stuff that's like macro efficient for prayer and your like herblore and stuff like that. Good example is like spellbook swap Abyssal Demons because I'll be doing Zuck, Kriara, KQ for their pets. So that kind of fucks up your prayer ratio. So you're getting way more Slayer XP than prayer because those tasks are a lot of XP and don't give prayer. So you need something that's way over to balance it. So then you add like Dagonoth Kings for Cath and spellbook swap Abyssal Demons, which slows down hard a lot, adding those prayer tasks and those like macro tasks. But I'll probably keep doing it that way just because I think that's like the most fun. Like I wouldn't want to be like 30 mil Slayer with like 22 mil prayer. It just doesn't feel right to me. Um, but I guess I just have to tank Heart taking a lot longer for that, which kind of sucks in the current meta because Shadow is it's really good honestly, with the heart. And you'll find that a lot of places it's a little bit difficult to use without heart. Like I said KQ earlier, but KQ is really I'm on the fence about it without a heart, because it's just so much DPS. So like if I'm gonna keep playing the game long term, Slayer's a skill I like. I can just wait. Right. Calcite tasks are pretty common. You get a lot of kills on them, and I'm only there for the jar. It's like it's whatever. Um, Somewhat same with Kree, but I did a good amount of Forgotten Brew Kree with the Shadow to get my armor pieces to fortify my Masori, and that's really not that bad, but I'll just have to see how I feel about it with Virtus, because that'll speed it up a good bit, but see how, if it's enough, right? Um, Virtus or Ancestral, whichever I end up doing it with, see where I'm at that point. But yeah, Slayer's definitely got a lot of variables to it, so I don't know when I'll tackle it, but definitely not anytime soon, because I'm frankly just gonna be playing less, I think, coming up, right? I have like IRL stuff to do with, and uh, yeah, takes away time from the game. So I'll just be focusing on Chambers and Next for a while. And past that, I also want to get some items from Hasani's Nightmare, but same issue, right? Not enough time. Items take forever to get there, and I want upgrades first. So another thing I'll cross later down the line. Um, and then I think the last thing I wanted to touch on was Forestry, right? Shit update, of course. It was the meta was just garbage day one and two, but it was incredibly overpowered, right? You could get like 1.5 tick XP rates while doing nothing but like filling seeds or doing the soil dung events, whatever it was, just like hopping in Wizard or DK's stream. That was it was kind of fun, just like being with the community, embracing the game being broken, but it was also really shit because I felt like I had to grind it and I didn't grind it enough to finish the log, which I probably should have done, but I also just wasn't enjoying it. I did like 5 hours first day and I was like, this is so unfun. So now I have to go do like shitty AFK woodcutting or something to finish the log, which I'm not very excited about, but it's something I'll get to. And I hope part two of Forestry is better. I hope it doesn't cost a lot of anima to buy the items, because I don't want to have to grind more than I already do. It's not very interesting for like 4 tick chopping trees, right? Maybe if I could get it from teaks or something, or like 1.5 tick redwood, that would be fine. But like being forced to AFK is not really, it doesn't really suit my playstyle. I would rather be able to play actively because I don't love AFKing. Like I'm not the type to try to rat as many hours of EHP in as I can, because I just think it makes me enjoy the game less. Um, I'll just find like certain activities I can AFK during, like folding laundry. Sure, I'll mine some day, I'll chop a redwood, but I'm not gonna like make dinner and AFK because that's too much work for me. Um, but yeah, I hope part two is balanced. And one thing, I don't know if this has been pulled or passed, or it's definitely like coming into the game, but there's the proposed teas, right, which are supposed to give benefits to other skills. And one of the proposed ones was a Slayer elite chance buff, which, if that's the meta for hard hunting, I'm not gonna care a ton, but I think it's just gonna be so shit for like PVMers, right? Like, I don't mind chopping some trees, even though I don't really like that I have to AFK them, but like, why are you making people who just want to slay make teas? And I guess that's like an Iron Man focused statement, right? Because I bet mains will be able to buy the trees. Or the teas. I don't think they'll make them untradeable, but at the same time, it just doesn't sound particularly fun. Um, front like on an Iron Man, which is I don't necessarily think that they need to focus on Iron Man when making updates, but it should be like a somewhat of a consideration, right? It doesn't need to be massive. I know it's a very like contentious thing in the community, right? Should the game be balanced around Iron Man, and there's the one side that says, well, so many people in the game play Iron Man, you have to. And I think that's the stance that Jagex themselves takes. Because it's pretty clear, like from updates, that they do cater towards and consider Iron Man making updates. But on the other hand, it's also a self-imposed restriction, right? Which is an argument I feel like people on the other side are very fed up with, but I honestly find myself agreeing with a lot of the time. Like, a lot of the bullshit of this game mode I signed up for and I'm willing to do because I signed up for it. Yeah, it's very much self-imposed restriction. Like you can de-iron if you want to, which again, some people think is a shitty argument, but I'm I'm on board with it. Like if I wasn't enjoying the game mode, I would de-iron. I've considered it before, right? Uh, you're not locked into playing this. Um, like when I maxed, I had considered de-ironing because I was realizing that I'm coming up on a bunch of endgame PBM grinds, and endgame iron is a lot different than earlier mid game. And this is what makes people de-iron usually, is that you enter a stage where all the grinds are a lot longer. Like they go from maybe, starts out with like 5, 10 hour grinds, goes like up to upwards of like 20 to 40, and then you start reaching like triple digit grinds, right? And that's where a lot of people lose interest because they don't like going, like 20 to 50 hours without any progress, or more even if you're doing something like Nightmare or Corp. Um, but I'm not disliking it yet. I think if I continue to get busier in real life, which I likely won't happen for a few years, maybe I consider de-ironing if I was logging in and just not enjoying what I'm doing because the game mode's restrictions, right? But I think that for me it's fine now. But I am in the camp of just saying all the complainers should de-iron, honestly. Like I know a lot of people who have de-ironed. I feel like a lot of it's an ego thing, right? You don't, because a lot of people have an ego around being an iron, but it's not that big of a deal. There's so many people who play Iron Man. It's whatever. But I don't think I have too much more to touch on. I'm sure I'll think of something when I end the recording, but that was most of the stuff on my mind. Yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this. I've never done a voiceover. I was trying to think if I've ever done a solo voiceover, but I definitely haven't done a solo voiceover, but I was trying to think if I've ever done a group one. And definitely not. If I have, it's been a long ass time. Yeah. But hope you guys enjoyed. Have a nice day, everybody.